Hey, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us in this space that we are creating to help educate and entertain in all areas of real estate.
So get ready to get real with Jen and Shell. Hey, welcome back. We are going to talk about things that'll add value to your house
and the things that won't.
Yes. So occasionally we hear from buyers that they're interested in doing certain types of changes to their new home that they want to buy. And some of those things are really amazing ideas, and some things aren't necessarily going to add the value that you think.
But that doesn't mean that they're necessarily a bad idea, although in some cases, it's not the best idea. But we'll get into that. I think the biggest thing is let's nail down on two things that for sure, if you put money into it into your home, that you're going to get your monies back on it with value, and that is kitchen and bathrooms.
Yes. Everybody loves an updated kitchen that looks clean and it's fresh. And then also same thing with bathrooms. Like, do the cute things, make the powder bath really fun and funky if you want to. It's still functional. But yes, people love that.
The key is functional. So I know that some of the homes I've been in, it looks super, super cool. And at first sight, you're like, oh my gosh, this is so great. But the longer you stand in that kitchen, you're like, oh, why is the fridge all the way over here? And the dishwasher's over here. And then it starts losing that functionality. And as cool as something looks, human nature is always going to dictate that we operate under function. Did you know that there was a study done back in like the 50s? And it was a study done.
Hey, so I must know what he's talking about.
Clearly. But I have found it to be so true. So when you walk into a kitchen, your starting point is the sink.
Okay.
And then women, because clearly women are the only ones that can be in the kitchen, am I right?
Make me a sandwich. I'm sorry.
You're going to starve. Either one of us, you will starve.
Mhm.
Anyway, you start at the kitchen sink. And so women naturally work to the left. So if you are facing your sink and you rotate to the left, it's going to send you on an orbit around your kitchen that should be very functional.
So my dishwasher, we redid our entire kitchen, is on the right. And guess what? I absolutely love it. So I think he probably didn't know what he's talking about. But I do get just understanding the flow of your own kitchen is ideal. You know what also looks really cool? It's like those floating open shelves. It looks so nice, so clean. We live in West Texas, okay? The dirt is going to blow. All of your dishes are going to be completely filthy. You're going to have to wash them every time you want to use them.
I will also say, speaking of being in West Texas, if you're thinking of remodeling flooring, do yourself a favor and do not pick a very dark floor. The dirt, the footprints, you're not going to be happy. You're going to be very frustrated. As someone who had a listing recently that had dark flooring, and I had to go over there every time before showing. Sweep. That was my sweeping.
I thought that was you butter churning for a second.
I'm not doing that. We all know how butter is turned. There's no need to have a visual of that.
Oh my gosh.
We have reached a level of silent laughter.
I'm sorry.
Anyway, kitchen bathrooms.
Amazing.
Good idea.
Here's some other things that will not add value, but they're pretty cool, like adding a pool. So arguably in Texas, it's hot, right? We hot all the time. There's like a 2-month span where it's freezing cold, and then the rest of the time it's hot. Okay. And so having a pool is a really fun thing because you want to cool off in the summer and all year for the forever. So, but the thing with pools is they don't actually add value to your home. Now they add, and they're aesthetically pleasing sometimes.
Yes. So the phrase that realtors like to use for that is like we have appraised value, which is a dollar amount. This is what your home is worth. And then we have market value, which in part is based on the dollar amount, but also on the desirability of the features that you have. So some people think having a pool is an amazing idea and it's so fun, and they're picturing barbecues and parties and all the things. And the pool, putting it in is very pricey.
Yep.
And the value that you get back is 10,000 within the first 10 years. That's being really generous on the appraised side of it.
But they cost at least 50.
Yes.
Oh.
So you're not going to get dollar for dollar on that return, but you're adding to your market value for people who want that. Me, I want to have friends with a pool because I don't want to have to do the maintenance, the chemicals. I don't want to do any of those things.
Yeah. Some other things that people really like because of the functionality is solar panels. So now we will get on our soapbox called "Don't do it."
Please don't.
There's some pros and there's some cons. Okay, I am a solar panel owner. So do as I say, not as I do. I'm never going to move. Okay, our house we've remodeled it. We spent way too much money remodeling it. We'll never get the value that we put into it out of the house. And so we're just going to stay there or we'll eventually turn it to a rental. But we got solar panels and we love them because our electric bill was astronomical because we have a hot tub and we do have a pool, but it's just a country bumpkin, like above ground pool
It's nice.
for now. Until we can get spend a lot of money. I'm not allowed to, but
Her realtor bestie is like,
but maybe one day, okay, when no one's looking, it'll just happen. The point of the story is that our electric bill is getting way too high in the summer, and it was more than our car payments. And so I was like, we have got to do something different. So solar panels make sense for us because we're never planning on moving, and we're able to just pay for them. And so also kind of helpful instead of like having a very long note on a solar panel for at like 7% interest over the life of like 20 years. That's a lot of money for panels that aren't going to last more than 10 years.
yes. So I think the biggest thing is know what questions to ask. I am not knocking solar. I think that it is a great option. My one complaint with solar panels really lie within the solar panel salespeople. And I don't mean this to sound like a hate crime, but when you are approaching a home that is in a neighborhood where the home values are maybe at most $95,000, and you are asking these people and you are pitching them the dream of not having an electric bill, and they're living paycheck to paycheck, and you are telling them this will save you so much money, blah, 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 blah. And then they end up financing these solar panels for around $200 and something a month for 15 to 30 years. And their house will never be worth enough to pay that off if they have to move, because when life happens, real estate happens, you have set them up for failure. And I get really angry about that. Because solar panels placed on your home add zero value dollar amount to your home.
Again, for the people in the back, no value.
An appraiser assigns no value. That $50,000 pool you put in, you're at least going to get maybe $10,000 back on that. The solar panels that are probably $30,000 to $45,000, you're getting nothing. And you're paying that lease payment on top of still having to pay to access the lines that are servicing your house with electricity. So your stats still happening, and are the solar panels performing? Are they high performing or not? Because that's going to be an issue. And don't even get me started on the buyback programs for some of the electrical providers. We'd be here all day.
I think that the key is, so I also ran into this issue. I had a client who was almost completely finished with their loan process, and we were literally waiting for the solar panel company to send over the paperwork because they said it was fine. Like, he could take over the lease. We're doing great. Debt to Kim's line. We are clear to close. Like, we are waiting for this one piece. And they came back in the 11th hour and said, nah. So he could afford a house. He could afford all the maintenance and everything else. He could afford the solar panel payment, and they would not allow him to take over the lease, which royally screwed up his transaction, but also the seller. So now you have a seller that is stuck with these solar panels on a house that doesn't have enough equity to pay them off at closing. And so it is a difficult transaction because that person needs to sell their house for a reason. And so I think it's just, if you're going to make the decision to get solar panels, you need to take a long and hard look of how long am I planning on living here? And does the functionality outweigh the cost because there are pros and there are a lot of cons. So many cons. Your insurance is higher. When you have to get your roof replaced, it's more expensive. So now your insurance is going to skyrocket again because they're going to have to pay to have those taken off, the roof replaced, and then pay to have them put back on. And so the next year when your escrow account analysis comes out, your insurance company is going to be like, boom, way more expensive because you've used too much of our money. Pros and cons.
Yes. So just ask questions. I had a client who they thought it was going to be their forever home. They had no intentions of ever moving. He got relocated for work.
Related.
Related. I'm just making up words. It's fine. He got relocated for work. And so I had to list a property. They were told when the solar panels were installed that they would be able to take them with them if they were to ever move. And I don't mean to sound like Maury, but we determined that was a lie.
I forgot about Maury.
Yeah. Oh God, I never do. I watch that man every day on my lunch break and Jerry Springer. So they were not able to take their solar panels with them as they were told when they signed up. And what happened was, luckily, they had enough equity in their home that they were able to pay off their panels completely. And then the company was like, okay, well, we can take them or you can leave them. They wrote a check for $50,000 to pay off these solar panels and then left them behind.
Thanks.
It's rough out here in these streets. So just ask questions.
I mean, and arguably you would do the same thing if you put a pool in. You would write a check for $50,000 and you're not taking it with you because that is cemented in. And I think it's just, you have to outweigh the cost versus the benefit for yourself. And everybody's situation is completely unique. And just like we're all human and we all have different experiences, your house is also like this living, breathing thing. And so you have to just determine what's best for you and your family. And we're just here to help answer some questions or at least help you ask some questions to be well informed enough to make that decision.
Absolutely. And I would like to say, I know that not all solar panel companies operate from a predatory standpoint. Most of them do. So if you are the few that don't,
Sponsor us.
sponsor us. We've said terrible things about your products, but please sponsor us.
You didn't mean it.
I did. Nothing makes me more nervous than when I pull up to a house and it has solar panels on it as a realtor.
It is difficult. It's hard to get through a process. There's no special programs for existing panels. Now, there are special programs with FHA for solar and wind that you can use if you're trying to get solar as you buy your house at the same time. There are some things you can do. Do I always recommend that? No. Yes. I would have to look at like your finances and is this really your forever home? Everyone always says that. It almost is never true.
Life happens and then real estate happens. Some things you just can't predict. And that's where we come in and help you during those transitions of life. But the things that we can control, we just need to be well informed and well educated about them. And then we make our decisions that way.
Yeah. There are some other things that I want to mention casually. There are some things that you do in your home because it is a regular maintenance thing, or some things that have to happen because life be life. And like your refrigerator might go out suddenly and you have to move it to your backyard all alone because you forgot that you have friends that are right down the street and then they could come and help you.
Well done. That was oddly specific and familiar.
Anyway, so let's say you put a new fridge in. That is not necessarily going to add value to your home. You can put the most expensive, beautiful, looks like a cabinet door.
Those are nice.
So nice.
Those are nice.
It adds no value. So again, just weigh your pros and cons. Is it worth it to you because it's cool and like you like it? Is it one of those like talks back to you or like shows you what's in the fridge? Those are cool too.
I could never.
Is it the one where it'll tell you when you're running low on something and you can order the groceries and it'll like send your order to like Walmart and then you can like go pick it up?
You're literally giving me anxiety.
I want a new fridge now.
I'm a control freak. I can't handle it. I can't do all that.
Yeah.
I bought a run-of-the-mill French door. I love it though. It's really nice. I'm very excited.
Yeah. Those are just one example.
Yes. Another one in that same vein, your HVAC. So when I meet with you to potentially list your home and you tell me that you have changed that filter every month,
Beautiful. Thank
that's
you.
great. Amazing. I don't necessarily believe you, but we'll find out.
I'm a little more trusting. I'm like, oh my God, that's amazing.
Yeah, well, I've seen the filters. I'm
Yeah.
like,
But they get
okay.
pretty bad.
But, or if you replace the whole unit even, yes, that's an upgrade. And so let's say that your new unit costs you 12,500 indoor outdoor, but you're not getting 12,500 back in dollar value. It's again, it's not an equal thing. That is regular maintenance. It's unfortunate that that went out, but you're basically just replacing something that your home needs, arguably.
Yeah.
We're in West Texas. I grew up without central heat and air. I don't recommend. We had a swamp cooler,
Oh.
and it was literally my job to get the water hose when it got hot and was blowing hot air. I had to go water down the side of it too, so to blow cold air again for another hour. It was
That sounds good.
so, but they're just things like that. That's considered normal maintenance. Updating lighting fixtures, more visually appealing, not adding any dollar value.
Using a $5 tile versus the dollar tile that they're the same. Okay, so you're paying for the brand, not going to get the same value. Like you're going to get one value. It doesn't
Yeah.
matter if it's the most expensive. Same with the flooring.
Yeah.
I mean, you can be like, oh, I put in these tile wood floors. It looks so beautiful. It's not going to add as much value as you think.
Because it's the market norm to kind of have those.
Mm-hmm.
So like it's great, but you still run that. It's not adding value, but some buyers prefer carpet. I have a RoboVac.
Yeah, that's great. I have one of those like shark things that'll like vacuum and mop at the same time.
What?
Yes, it is a life changer, and it's like the Pet Pro one because we have dogs,
They have dogs.
and most of the time they're outside, but because it's nice. But when they are inside, they shed a little here and there. You know what else doesn't add value to your house? Dogs.
They really don't. Or cats, for that matter, while we're on the subject of that.
Yeah.
My cat's no longer a pet. She's an investment after getting shot. And I had to spend $4,000 to keep her alive in an oxygen kennel.
But if your windows get shot out and you go ahead and put new windows in,
Windows add value.
yes, this really, look at us go.
Look at that.
I mean,
Yeah.
buy a BB, not like a real gun.
Sure,
Try
it's
not to get
only,
shot, like,
yeah.
oh.
Anyways, Texas. Yeah,
Yeah, you know these kids be out here being kids.
they do. But updating your windows adds value. Redoing your siding on your home adds value.
Adding more insulation doesn't necessarily add value, but it'll make you more comfortable.
Yes, it highlights your energy efficiency, so it's going to save you money, even though it's not going to necessarily help on the resale side of it. Getting a new roof. Now, let me just say, that doesn't always translate to adding more monetary value to your home because that is maintenance. Your home has to have a roof that is insurable. So that's that's a big deal there. But it's more desirable for buyers the newer the roof is.
Mm-hmm.
Also kind of helps with their insurance rate getting a little bit better if the roof is newer or if you really went out on a limb and got a class 4 roof. Impact resistant, baby.
Yeah.
Those are nice.
Yeah.
So things like that. But you would think that I get it all the time. It's like, oh, I just put a new roof on. So that gives me 30,000 more.
Nope.
No. It gives you nothing except for a new roof and the confidence that you have something over your head to keep the rain out.
Or the snow. We sometimes have that. We sometimes have rain too. That was cute. It's really just to keep the sun off your skin.
Really just to keep you from becoming a raisin in this desert. Come live in Lubbock.
It's nice here. We're so friendly.
But
Nothing else. At least you get a sense of humor.
it might be the trauma.
Sure. Probably.
Anywho, any questions that you have before you do anything to your home as far as a remodel or things like that, your realtor can help guide you on that. We actually have a formula that we can use and plug in that information. We can run a current value of your home, and then we can run a cost estimate on an ROI on whatever repair you're wanting to do. And ROI is just return on investment. Okay. So we can have an estimate done for you and give you an idea of where your margin is. So you can see if putting X amount of money really does make sense.
Yeah. And we're happy to help you with that.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's literally what we do.
yeah, we know that like, I'm not going to be like, well, maybe you should just sell this house and buy a new one. That's not our jam. But unless you want to.
I mean, if you want to.
Yeah, like we're cool with it.
And honestly, sometimes that's the way the conversation ends up going, because you're wanting to do a $25,000 kitchen remodel and the market in your neighborhood can't support that. And so it would make more sense to do some minor, more cosmetic fixes to make it more desirable and sell it currently, and then just update your whole home instead of just your kitchen.
And then go buy a better house with a better kitchen. Oh, anyway, we're not going to pressure you, but we
No.
are here to answer questions. We will. Yeah, catch you next time. Thank you so much for joining us today. We'll catch you next time.
And the only time we don't mind you pushing our buttons is right now. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. We'll see you next time.
Please leave that in.